All right, I believe we are live on YouTube right now. So welcome Samyamdeep and welcome Pancham. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I will give a very brief description about myself at August Academy, and then we can take questions from y'all. All right, can I have the thumbs up, please? Can you guys hear me? Pancham can hear me. Samyamdeep, you just said you can hear me, so hopefully you're still around. Uh, so my name is Karthik, as you all know, and I am the founder of August Academy. We've been in business since 2013. So come January, this would be our 11th year of operations, right? And we are based out of Chennai, but we work with people from all over India and also from with people from outside of India, namely Singapore, Dubai. Uh, actually as far east as Australia and as far west as California, right? So that's pretty much every time zone out there. Most of our candidates are of Indian origin with Indian passports. So that's something that we sort of specialize in. Among them, most of them are engineers, and among the engineers, most of them are IT engineers, right? So that's the breakdown of our student composition. If you look at results, most of our candidates have gotten into top 20 programs. So we work with an average of around 30 candidates here, so maybe around 300 candidates over the last 10 years. So a good number of them, maybe about 200 of them would have gotten into top 20 programs around the world. And the rest would have gotten into top 50 programs. It basically depends on the individual's profile. This year, again, we are working with a very good batch. We've had interviews from Darden. We've had at least a couple of interviews from Darden already. And IMD and the other results are just coming in as we speak, right? So that's something that we are very excited about. And we are signing up people for R2 at this point. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of time, but if somebody decides to join and start working with us this week or so, we may still be able to do about 3 applications with them, right? If people work really, really fast, then maybe about 5. So that, we'll have to depend on the individual's capacity and all that. About myself, I am an alumnus of IIT Madras and Stanford University, and I have a PhD in engineering, and I'm happy to be working with a talented bunch of people every year. So that said, I'm opening up the floor for questions. Soumyadeep, I think we interacted briefly on email maybe about 2 weeks ago. I remember that we interacted, but I don't remember the context of our interaction. So maybe you can just give yourself a brief intro and then let me know what kind of questions you have.
Yeah, hi Karthik. So yeah, we did have a chat over email. So I was wondering about as you said, about August Academy and sort of the services that are provided.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm actually the brief intro, as you said, I'd given it over the email as well. So I am someone who's into his third year of WorkX. So
Okay.
I'll have four years by the time of matriculation. So I'm applying in 2025 round one. So which is
2025 round
next year,
one.
which is
Okay.
basically next year September. That's when I decide to apply. That's when I've decided to apply and not in round two this year.
Okay.
And
So you have
I
3 years
have
at this point, or you'll have 3 years of experience next year?
no, I'll have 3 years. So I have currently I'm at 2 years, 3 or 4 months, around 2 years, 3 or 4
So you're a
months.
2021 graduate.
2021 graduate, correct?
Okay. All
Absolutely.
right. Yeah. So COVID
2021
batch,
grad. Yeah, yeah, the second COVID batch. Yeah,
the second COVID batch. Okay.
right.
So yeah, very good. Okay. Let me know.
Yep. So I was just I had a few questions in terms of my profile, but yeah, that was sort of the introduction. And I
Mhm.
had questions about August Academy as well, because I was just reading in terms of the program, and it seems a little bit different from the traditional sort of program, traditional sort of admission consulting forums or companies that I've come across or I've researched about, because I'm
Okay.
planning to sort of start a bit early. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that's sort of the context of the introduction as you were looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So give me an educational back. So are we discussing your questions now?
Sure, I mean, up to you.
Yeah, we can. We can. Yeah. So for that, I would need an educational background. Like, what did you study? You graduated in 2021. That's clear.
Right.
And then, where
Yeah.
are you working right now? What kind of work do you do? No, just give me like a very
Yeah.
very brief background.
Yeah. So just to be brief, right? So I did my BTech from SRM in Chennai,
Hmm.
and I so as you know, in computer science and engineering,
Mhm.
and post that I've been working with Fractal, so Fractal Analytics.
Mhm.
So I was into tech. I was a data engineer for about 1 year, 8 months, and
Mhm.
then I decided to sort of pivot because I wanted to move into more of a growth strategy of finance related role. So I there was a corp dev role that was that was sort of open in my company at that point of time. So I decided to make a pivot
Mhm.
into the corp dev role. I did intern for 3 or 4 months, and then I
What is the
bagged
cog dev role?
corporate development. So basically, it's so in short, it's just focused on any sort of uh, organic or inorganic growth that the company does.
Hmm.
So it's basically in terms of inorganic growth, you can say it's looking into the M&A front of the company. So looking at any sort of companies that we can acquire or sort of companies we can merge with, and in that aspect, and also from the organic standpoint, just from a strategy perspective, how we can sort of improve our business with clients and
Mhm.
in that sort of domain, to just keep it brief.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's sort of the role that I've been in over the last year. I mean, 4 months of internship, and then 4 months of interning with the team. It's not really internship; it's still a full-time experience. But 4 months of interning with the team, and then moving to corp dev. Yeah. So
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 after
that's
the internship, you will move into corporate development,
no,
is it?
I'm already in it. I'm already in this. I interned with the team for
Okay.
since I think Feb till May, and
Hmm.
since June I've been working like I've moved teams basically.
Okay. Okay. All
I
right.
was in AI, and now I'm in business function. So yeah, I moved
Okay.
teams.
Okay. All
Mm.
right. And within the same company, right? Fractal.
Yeah, within the same company. Correct.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. And you're applying in September 24 for the batch of September
25.
25. All right. All
Correct.
right. Sounds good. What are your questions, Samiti? And your graduation is in which stream?
Computer science.
Computer science. And GPA is?
Uh, so we had percentage.
Okay.
So it was
Percentages,
yeah, 88%.
which is fine. Yeah, that's great.
Decent. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. And I'm assuming you are not done with the GRE or GMAT?
Not yet, not yet. I'm
Okay.
planning to start my prep. So I have a little, I'm actually traveling a bit in the next couple of months. So I postponed my GMAT prep to sort of start from Jan, because I'm
Hmm.
traveling a little bit, and also some work here and there. So I didn't want to sort of break it into pieces and then start. I just want to get it done with it in one go. So
Okay.
we'll start in Jan. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that sounds good. How can I help you? Tell me.
So I think one the first thing would be so do you want me to ask you a general like sort of August Academy related question, because I don't really know about the process that August Academy follows in terms of, it just seems different, because normally what happens is you get an admissions consultant, you work with them, and then it gets done, right? So for you I saw there's like a comprehensive program where you sort of train to sort of build the profile and stuff like that. So I just want to know briefly about that, and then post that I had a few questions about my profile that I think might not be in the best of shape or some
Okay,
form. And
let's take the questions on your profile first, and
okay,
then I'll
sure,
take Pancham's questions, and then I'll talk about our process after that, because I
of
think
course,
that will be something that's common to the two of you. Is that okay?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
works.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So I think one thing that I feel about my profile, I think I'll sort of speak with the I'm sort of going to start attending events as well, college events, the online ones, of course. Can't travel to the US, but so one thing I feel that because I've made a pivot, right? I've made a pivot into a growth role, and I'm
Mm.
actually planning to move into strategy, right? I'm planning to move into consulting post the MBA. So because I have a double pivot, there
Mm.
is not sort of what you call a there is a variety in the career standpoint, but there's not sort of a very good career growth in terms of promotions and stuff. So how like is that something that's a sort of a big red flag? Like how do you sort of negate that and
Now,
portray
what is
your
the
strength?
double pivot we are talking about?
No, not a double pivot. Sorry, I meant two different streams. I meant one pivot, right? I made one career pivot in terms of streams, right?
Mm.
From moving from a tech role to a growth role, right? So there was
That's fine.
yeah. But there's no sort of, so the issue that I'm facing here is generally people I've been working with are, I'll be competing against would be people who are in managerial positions, and I'm someone who hasn't had a promotion yet, right? So
Mhm.
how much does that affect your chance, and how do you sort of what's a good way to sort of play around that? Is that something that really harms the chances of sort of getting into a good B school, or do sort of adcoms look at it in a bad light in that sense? Like, is that something to worry about?
Okay. Uh, See, there's multiple answers to this. The first answer is no, it's not a big deal. All right. But then the more important thing is this. All right. Uh, See, we are planning for something that's happening about 2 years into the future, correct? At this point.
Correct.
And I've seen a lot of people actually change their mind in that period of 2 years.
Mm.
So, in fact, I've seen people change their mind in far less time than 2 years. People sign up for me, they pay me lakhs, and then, by the end of the program, they actually get their admit, and then suddenly they say, "Hey, you know what, Karthik, I'm happy I got the admit, but I don't want to do an MBA anymore." All right. So this happens more often than you think. All right. So
Okay.
the first really, really important question you have to ask yourself is, if the MBA were not in my future, is this a role that I would like to do? And if the answer to that question is yes, please continue to do this. All right. Forget the MBA. This is a role that you're interested in. This is a role that gives you growth. This is a role that gives you satisfaction and hopefully like a good pay package as well. So that's the first criteria. Now, the second question is, because we are in an MBA forum and we are looking at whether this is relevant to an MBA program, I would say yes, 100% yes. Definitely more relevant than a tech kind of profile, because now you're in a business development kind of profile. And business development not as in sales, but more as in corporate acquisitions and whatnot. So definitely that makes you a more attractive candidate for MBA programs, perhaps not as much as somebody who's full-time worked in an M&A role, and definitely not as much as someone who's worked full time in an MA role with leadership experience as well. But compared to other techies, which is what you would have been before you made the transition, definitely that places you as an attractive candidate. So I think that's how you need to evaluate it. You can be happy with what you're doing. Yeah. What's your next question?
Okay, so no, just a small counter to that, just like
Hmm.
a add-on question. So yeah, I understand. No, the domain part was not my sort of main issue. My bigger issue is sort of lack of sort of career growth in terms of, so at least, so people at least move to sort of a low to middle level of
No,
at
that's
least
what I'm
position
telling you about,
management.
Soumyadeep. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you
Okay.
have to put it in perspective and compare yourself to the right crowd. All right.
Okay. Okay.
So depending on which crowd you're comparing yourself with, you may be at
Hmm.
an advantage or a disadvantage, but there's nothing much
Mhm.
you can do about it. I mean, you just go with whatever you have. I think you're doing the best you can given your circumstances, and I think that is something you can be happy with.
Sure, understood. Okay, I actually had one more question with
Mhm.
respect to reaching out to sort of the networking aspect with sort of the schools that I'm interested in,
Mhm.
and sort of one more thing. So again, two little sort of divergent questions, which are sort of
Mhm.
similar. So
Mhm.
one is that so I'm trying to sort of shortlist schools that I'm interested in. I'm looking at the different programs among the
Mhm.
top 20, maybe top 25 programs, right?
Okay.
That interest me, that I feel I can relate to. But I'm currently looking at it from a very sort of uh, academics perspective, right? Like like where I am in my career and where I would like to move ahead in my career.
Mhm.
So, but recently, for instance, recently I came up with I sort of was looking at a YouTube video, and I realized that things like small things like even transportation, modes of transportation are such a big thing when deciding which school you want to go to, right? The location that you want to choose and those kind of things. So,
Mhm.
what are the additional factors apart from just looking at the career perspective of it? What are some of the other factors that one should definitely keep in mind while researching schools? Because in my mind, I have a list of sort of 5 to 7 schools that are looking good to me in
Mhm.
terms of where I am and where I want to take my career, right? But
Okay.
I feel like I've looked at it only from a career perspective. So just that is one question that I had. So what else should we be
Okay.
looking at?
No, I think this is a premature discussion at this point. Yeah. At this point, I would only say focus on the school or set of schools that will give you the kind of career growth that you're looking for. And according to me, that is most schools in the top 20, top 25. Okay. So you would not lose out anyway. Things like transportation and all that, let's worry about it as a secondary factor at a later point in time. These are things you can figure out. I mean, worst case, come on, you pay about 5 to 10K and you buy a car. That's about it. I mean, you're spending 200K on an MBA, 10K for a car is nothing. And for 10K in the US, you can get, I don't know, like an Audi A4 or something, which is used. At least I used to be able to do that about 15 years ago. I'm not sure if that's still true. But you can get very nice cars for 10K. That's all I'm saying. All right. So don't worry about these very, very minor things.
So I'm on the right track in terms of the research, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think what you need to worry about is get a good GRE or a GMAT score. Try to position yourself so that you can get into a good school. And once you have the results, right, you've actually applied to 7 or 8 programs, you've got admits from 3 or 4. When you compare between those 3 or 4, then making all these minor things come into play, right?
Got it.
And sometimes it could be something as stupid as I don't like the color of their flag. You know, I'm not saying I'm not saying make decisions like that, but that's when all these minor things come into play. That's all I'm trying to say. Is that okay? So now, go by reputation, go by strength, or go by quality of faculty, and all of these are great across the top 2025. So that's your consideration set at this point.
Yep. Doing that. So I think I'm on the right track in terms of that. Just one last question. Sorry for taking up so much time. Just one last question. So now I'm going to start like reaching out to sort of schools and attending these online events that I was telling you about, right? So I plan to start reaching out to these schools. So in terms of, so I was again reading about stuff that there are people say there are no sort of wrong questions, but there are sort of wrong questions that you shouldn't be asking these people. And a very generic answer to that is whatever you can find on the website, don't ask those questions, right? But I just want to know in detail as to what if I'm applying in 2025, is now a right time to sort of start speaking with alums and start sort of attending these events. And
it's okay. If you have time, you can do it. See, I mean, the question is,
does that make a difference? And what sort of questions to avoid? Does that really make a difference in terms of understanding more and also sort of creating an impression? Does that make a difference, like attending these events and stuff?
Okay. Yes and no. All right. To be honest, like it's difficult to remember people who attend webinars. Okay. So definitely and especially when the numbers are in the thousands. Okay. So that's what we are talking about here. But we are in the age where a lot of tracking is digital, right? Your digital footprints are there. So when you sign up for a program, you are going to give them your email address. The Zoom system is automatically going to track when you logged onto the thing and when you exit it. If they've saved the chat transcript, then they will actually know that, hey, this is the kind of question you asked. And then additionally, they may make comments on your profile in their CRM software, right? Tagged against your email address. These are things that they could possibly do. All right. Do they have the bandwidth to do that? Maybe or maybe not. Okay. So whatever is done automatically, you can assume that will be done automatically. These additional things like, okay, this particular student asked this question and this is the answer I gave him, that actually requires a human being to go and type something in. It may happen sometimes, it may not happen all the time, right? So don't give that too much credibility. But when they evaluate your application, if they've decided to actually store your digital footprints, they'll know which events you attended and all that. And that could be a signal that you've done your due diligence with regards to the program. If you've done it often enough, then that it means you're really passionate about the school. So a certain level of engagement can be calculated, right? They could actually, it's not just about storing digital footprints. They could actually run like a meta algorithm on top of that and calculate, okay, how much of a strong lead is this guy compared to others, right? Will that make a difference if you have a very good application or a very bad application? Perhaps not. Okay. If you have a very good application and you don't have a digital footprint, they may still want to admit you. If you have a very bad application, but you have a good digital footprint, no, you're not getting in. Okay. So this is likely to make a difference only when you're on the fence, maybe when you're on the wait list. Okay. At least that's what my common sense tells me. I don't know. I have not been behind the scenes and I've not looked at how these guys do it. You know, I mean, that's what my common sense tells me. That's the only situation in which this can actually make a difference, right? So try not to put yourself on the fence. You know, that's more important. But right
Yeah.
now, I mean, if you have time, instead of I don't know, watching something on Netflix, you could just sign up for like an hour's webinar every week or so and just attend it. Right now, it's probably targeting R2 for intake of
Yeah.
2024, but that's
Or
okay.
that's
The
okay.
CRM things will transition over to next year. You'll get, so if you sign up this year, you'll get emails next year as well. So go for it.
Hmm. So no bad questions as such, right? Like you can
No bad
sort of
questions.
ask.
No, no, no.
No bad questions as such.
That should be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
cool. I think that's sort of, yeah. Thank you so much.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take Pancham's questions now. Pancham, are you around?
Yeah, hi Karthik.
Hi, Pancham. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Yeah. Tell me, Pancham, how can I help you?
Yeah, so just a brief background about myself. So I have done my graduation in business administration.
Okay.
I
MBA?
have no bachelor's.
BBA. Okay.
Yeah, BBA.
Okay.
So I've done BBA and I've also completed CFA along with that. I have
Okay.
a CGPA of around of 8 point something
CFA
out of
level
10.
3?
Yes, all levels cleared.
Okay.
So, and I've also taken the GRE. My GRE score is 326,
Okay.
and I have a work experience of rounding about 6 years now,
Very good.
almost 6 years.
Okay.
So I have been into investment consulting, and right now I'm into asset management, which is basically dealing with product and strategy.
Okay.
So,
Are you working
this
for
is,
an AMC?
yes, I'm working at State Street. So
Sorry, you're working?
at State Street, yeah.
Sorry?
State Street. So
State
it's,
Street. Okay.
yeah, it's an asset
Is it an
management company.
AMC? Like they
Yes,
have
yes,
their
yes,
mutual funds and all that?
yes. Like backup. So
In
it's
the
State
US,
Street
is it?
in the US.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
into
Yeah. That's
product
why
and
I've
strategy.
not heard of the name. Yeah.
Yes. So similar to BlackRock, basically.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
So around 6 years of experience right now, and I have already applied to some schools in round one, and the
Okay.
results haven't been great.
Okay.
Haven't been good at all, actually, honestly. So
Okay.
now, so I have applied to make two top tens, a couple of top 15s, one uh, top 25, but I've had rejects from two and no invites yet from either of the top 15s.
So the rejects
And
are from the top 10s?
yeah, no, one top 10 and one top 15.
Okay.
And rest, one has not yet started rolling out the results, their invites, but
Ah.
for remaining couple, there haven't been any invites. So, so basically, my question revolves basically around this one.
Hmm.
After round one, after post some self-reflection, I can see that there are some issues with my resume,
Hmm.
some with my post MBA goals, why
Hmm.
MBA, and I
Hmm.
think these could be predominantly major reasons, and also my could be my GRE score because of an Indian male applicant.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anything above 330, I think, is expected. So maybe that could be one of the reasons. So
Hmm.
now that I have some idea, okay, what could have gone wrong, because I
Hmm.
was expecting at least an invite from the top 25, which was a little alarming for me.
Hmm.
But right now I'm at a point where I'm thinking whether proceeding for round two makes sense. If I kind of work on my essays better,
See, I think
maybe.
you should be able to get an admit from a 20 to 30 school very easily. Okay.
Okay, okay,
Whether you get an admit from a 15 to 20 school or not depends on the intricacies of your profile. I'm not ruling it out,
okay,
but it's going to be difficult. All right. And it'll be possible if there are some very strong signs in your profile. But if there's like comparable to a lot of applicants in your group,
okay,
then it may be on the weaker side. Okay.
okay,
So only by examining your profile, I can tell if you have something that's stronger than your peer group or if it is par for the course for your peer group. Uh, Most people are par for the course only and are differentiated by their GREs or GMATs. Okay.
okay.
So if you're par for the course, there's nothing to be worried about. You're just the same. I mean, par for the course literally means everybody's doing the same thing, correct?
Got it,
And that
got
means
it.
everybody is doing the same thing. All right. So nothing to worry about, nothing to be concerned about. But you need to be cognizant of the fact that the GRE becomes like a vital determining factor, and then we are down to the 20 to 30 range.
Yes.
And write good essays, get good interviews, and you should be home. Don't lose hope on the top 25 program yet. I wouldn't lose hope on the top 15 to 20 program also if you apply to something in that territory.
Okay.
Just give it some time, but yeah, definitely have an R2 plan.
Okay. Yeah.
If
So
you
my
believe there's
main,
room for improvement on the GRE, then postpone to next year.
yes. So that's what I'm thinking basically, because my main concern is to taking the GRE again and kind of I might try for one attempt maybe in the next couple of months and see if that works out. But I'm not sure if I can actually push, because my work experience is also on the above the average. So by the time I sign up, or by the time I begin, it would be 7 years. And if I kind of push it for one more year, I think that might be a problem. But I'm not able to figure out whether that one thing can be a major determinant right now if I have
See,
a
the
better
GRE
score.
score is a major determinant. That much I
Okay.
will tell you. But
Okay.
what you need to be very clear about is, can you improve your GRE score? Be very realistic and very clear about it. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I've seen a lot of people waste time.
Yeah.
Why do they waste time? I mean, their maximum is only 326. And they spend 6 months, 1 year, 2 years preparing for the GRE, and then they get 326, 326, 325, 324, 327. You know, I mean, it's not worth spending 2 years of your life on something that does not change. All right.
Okay.
Now, without trying, again, you won't know whether it will change or not. But you would have an inclination of what kind of results you've had on academic tests in the past. So be very realistic. Don't chase unicorns. That's all I'm saying. Unicorns don't
Got it.
exist.
Got it.
But if it does exist, if it is realistic for you to make an improvement, by all means, postpone to next year.
Okay. Okay. So for round two, my main my main target has shifted. So I am looking for something between 15 to 25 right now, because anything beyond anything under that range kind of makes it, I think, difficult for me. So being
Okay,
a
so
little more
there's a little bit of
realistic.
overlap between what I'm saying and what you're saying, and maybe that's
Yeah.
hopefully you should end up there at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one. So possibly my main question was this: whether I should hold on for round two, maybe target this 15 to 25, or rather wait for a year and kind of again see
Yeah,
for
that you
round
have to
one.
take a very hard call on how much
Yeah.
improvement is possible on the GRE. If you believe that you can improve by 4 or 5 points, then you can wait and apply next year.
Okay.
You will be on the older side, but that's okay. We work with older candidates also.
Okay.
But if at the outset you're not very confident about the improvement, then I would say just go for it.
Okay.
In between solution is to just go for it. I mean, you would spend about 2 lakhs on this. Just go for it. And then after January, you try to improve your GRE. And then if
Got
you
it.
improve by 4 points, 5 points, then you pull back all the applications. You would have wasted money. You would have wasted some effort and time on applications for December.
Yeah.
But you can get into a better school next year. So you can just, in the grand scheme of things, that 2.5 lakhs is not much.
Understood. Understood. Got your point. Got your point. I think, yeah, that was the main question, Karthik. Thanks a lot. Thanks for
Okay.
clarifying.
All right, Mansoor. Yeah. Sarfraz, right? Sarfraz.
Yes, and yes, Safras.
Yeah. Hi, Sarfraz. How are you?
Yeah, hi, Karthik. I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Yeah. How can I help you, Sarfraz? Tell me.
Yes, Karthik. So I'm working in Deloitte right now. I have a 1 year of experience now. By the
Okay.
time of joining the college, I might have around 1.8 years of experience. Okay.
As in
From it,
next year for 2024 intake.
2024 intake. Like my
Okay.
question is, I have a startup experience and all. Like I founded a couple of startups, and I've initiated an NGO and international club also. And currently, I'm working with a business professor on
Okay.
a research project. So
Okay.
this makes me an ideal candidate for. This makes me an ideal candidate for an MBA to apply now for September 2024, or should I wait for next year?
I think it's better you wait for 2 years at least, Sarfraz.
Okay.
Ideally about 4 years of full-time work experience at the time of application, 5 years at the time of intake. If you're in a hurry, 3 years at the time of application, 4 years at the time of intake, that's also fine.
If I'm
Right now,
applying next year, I'll be on maybe 2.7 years of experience if I'm applying next year.
let's not worry about the nitty-gritties. You take the
Okay.
year, you subtract your year of graduation, and let's take that whole number.
Okay, fine. Okay,
So
fine.
if you're a 2021 graduate, we'll say you have 2 years of
I'm
experience right now.
22
Let's not worry.
now.
then you have 1 year of experience.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
So let's just take it as 1 year right now. So maybe wait 2 years. I think that would be ideal, unless your startup is like, I don't know, you sold it to somebody for $5 million or something, in which case you're like a great candidate. You apply right now and you'll get it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Like any other course you could recommend me at this point?
You can
if
do
I'm
MIMs right now.
Yeah, MS in Business Analytics.
If you want to get into business analytics, yeah, by all means, yeah, you can do that as well.
Okay, fine. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karthik.
All right. Yeah. Any other questions from anyone before we get into our process? I know that's pending from Soumyadeep's list. Okay, I'll just give like a 5-minute description of how we work with our candidates. This may be relevant to Soumyadeep and Pancham and Safraz for a later year. See, the basic idea is when somebody starts working with us, the first step is we need to understand their background. Soumyadeep, are you still around? Give me a thumbs up, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. So we need to understand their background. So I have a set of questions, and I would be sharing those questions with you, and then I would ask you to write down some answers. Overall, we are talking about around 2,000 to 3,000 words of write-ups here. Largely, our essays will be derived from the content you share here. Okay, so I would encourage you to take about 10-15 days, think about your entire life from childhood to current adulthood, and think about all the highlights, work-wise, extracurricular-wise, community-wise, sometimes maybe personal life. I mean, I'm not compelling you to write about your personal life, but if there's something very strong in your personal life, you can comment on that as well. Okay. So these are the things that I want you to dig deep into and then share some highlights with me. And then what we would do is we would look at the objective particulars, like where do you study, what kind of GPA do you have, where do you work, what kind of career growth do you have, which segment do you fit in with regards to your industry and function, what kind of assessments do you have at work, right? How many years of work experience do you have managerial experience? I mean, we just think about all of this. And then, of course, your GRE, GMAT, that matters a big deal, like I've been explaining to Pancham. And then we'll come up with a list of colleges, stretch colleges, target colleges, safety colleges. Right? And then I would make that proposal to you, and you can select from that list. You can add colleges to that list as well, and I will classify it as stretch, target, or safe for you. All right. And when we make this shortlist, Soumyadeep, at that point, to a certain extent, we can keep considerations, maybe not like transport and all that, but definitely if you have family in Texas and you want to study in Texas, that's valid, I think, even before, right? So those are some things that we could consider, all right? And the final decision to apply to a college or not will be yours. That's my philosophy, at least. In case you're finding it really, really difficult and you want me to make a choice, I can do that for you. All right. So this is the first part, which is the shortlisting part. After that, we get into the application phase, where typically the way it works is we'll have a brainstorming call set up, and then you'll come at the appointed time. It'll be set up for an hour. We'll go for an hour and 10 minutes or so. We'll discuss some of the essay questions for that particular college. We'll discuss your life stories that may be relevant. And then what we'll do is I'll be pushing back. Everything you tell me, I'll say that's wrong. Tell me why it's right now. I mean, not to make you feel bad or anything, but we need to go through this process to make a story watertight. Like, what are the possible objections that somebody listening to that story or reading that story will possibly have? If we plan for those objections beforehand, then the resultant story that you have will be like really, really strong. So that's my approach here. And what will happen is we will actually make the story watertight, and then I'll help you put together a bullet point structure for each essay. And then you can write the essay based on the structure that we've developed. Okay, so that's how that works. Once you write the essay, you will share it with me. I'll take 2-3 days to review it, and then I'll give you my comments on how you can improve. And then you send me another draft, I'll send you more comments. We'll go back and forth till we get it right. Very, very simple and straightforward process. I'll also help you with the resumes and the LORs. All right. So this is the application part. The next part is the interviews. Depending on the package you sign up for, interviews may or may not be there. So those clarifications, definitely I can help you in a personal call. And in fact, I have a spreadsheet. I can share a current spreadsheet with you. Just send me an email. Currently, what I can say is our packages for this particular year, our 3-school package, our 3-school ultra package is 2,75,000 plus GST, and our 5-school ultra package is 3,40,000 plus GST. We used to have lower price packages, but because we don't have the time for it, we've discontinued it at this point. When somebody joins us next year, if they join early enough, then we may reintroduce those packages for a brief period. All right. So it really depends on when you're signing up and all that. Okay. Now, typically, the earliest applicants sign up with us in March, and then some join us in April, and then May, June, July is like a large number of applicants join, but they're not the earliest ones. They don't get the best discounts necessarily, so they pay the regular prices. Okay, so just giving you that indication. Yeah, and yeah, depending on the package, we'll help you with interviews as well. So that's the basic structure. Did that answer your question, Somnidhi?
Yeah, just want to ask you one thing. So, are you the person we've been
I will be
working
helping
with,
you out.
or,
Yes, yeah. I'll be
or
working
are
with
you
you.
or is this going to be delegated to somebody else?
No, I'll be working with you.
Okay, you're the one who's going to be working. Yeah, I think that's. And just one thing regarding LOR. So, could you explain that a little bit more in detail? Like what exact help?
See, typically it is expected that your recommender will write the LOR.
Yep.
What we can do is we can prepare a LOR packet with some stories highlighting your strongest experiences at work, and then we can give it to them. They may choose to include those stories or not. That is their prerogative. They can also refer back to the appraisals that they've written for you in the past, right? And then once they have the letter prepared, if they are willing to share it with you, you can in turn share it with me, and I can give comments on how they can make it stronger. And if they are willing to listen to my input, we can go through the edit process.
Got it.
So you'll be the interface between them and me.
Yeah.
It'll be a little difficult for me to interact with them directly because this for every person I'll have to interact with two recommenders, and sometimes I don't want to mismatch recommenders with candidates. So best for you to collate the efforts and be the conduit.
Yeah, and in case of interviews, if we get interview invites, so is it one interview per school? How does that work?
That depends on the package. So in our whatever I mentioned right now is the ultra package, where we don't have a limit on interviews, but we are restricted to having a 7-day separation between two calls. So if you have a call today, the next call can only be like next Tuesday or later, right? Not to be interpreted as definitely one a week, more like we need at least 7 days between two calls. Yeah, subject to that, we don't have any limits. So if you want to do one call, we can do one call. If you want to do like two, that's fine. So don't worry about all that right now. In our comprehensive packages, which is the lower price package, we have a limit on the number of calls per college. It's one call per college, not interview call. I'm talking about brainstorming call itself. And interview call will be an overall 2 calls across the package, right? So you can use one each for 2 colleges, or you can use 2 for 1 college and nothing for the others. Most people, they just use one, and then the second one, they just have a chat and it's like a pep talk, whatever works for you, right? But at this point, we don't have the comprehensive one offer. We may reintroduce it in March.
Sure. Just one last question, not regarding this process. Just so as you're talking about the scores, right? So what is generally the ballpark figure for Indian males? What is around the score? Is it the 99 percentile?
Say if you're looking at a top 10 college, the current version of the GMAT, we are looking at around 750, 760 for an Indian male. Okay. For a top 15 focus, I don't know, just look at the translation tables. I'm not intuitively familiar with the focus yet, but 750, 760 on the old GMAT, what does it translate to on the focus? I think that should be good. And for
705, I think, yeah.
Then that's what you should go for. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I cut you. Sorry.
Yeah, for a top 15, we are probably looking at around 740, 730 if you have a very good profile. And for a top 20, I would say around 720, 730, 720 if you have a very good profile, 730 if you have an average profile.
Got it. So 730 to 760 is the range, right? That seems like the range.
Much.
730 to 760.
Yeah.
Got it. I think that's very helpful. Okay, thank you so much. I think that's it.
Yeah. So Anujan has a question. Does having a higher GMAT score offset average undergrad score? Is there anything more we can do to tackle this issue? Yeah, see, I mean, the mistake is done, right? You've been smoking in the past. You have lung cancer right now. There's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately, right? Yeah, sure, take medicine and whatnot. It's not going to cure you, but it's going to give you a higher quality of life for the rest of your life. So I think you need to learn to accept some of these things, that some of this damage that has been done to you, right? Now, which is the better drug? I think that's what we're talking about right now. A high GMAT score is definitely the best offset. All right. Then, I mean, if you look at Western consultants, they say you can do MBA math and you can sign up for like an exec course at some university and do all that and get a good GPA and all that. So by all means, I mean, if you want to do that, just go for it. Okay. I'm not saying it'll work 100%, but it may offset it. I mean, other people tell you that it's good. So I don't want to tell you it's bad. It's definitely, I mean, I won't say it's bad. My feeling is it may not be sufficient. But yeah, I mean, just if you have the time and the money, just go for it. And the last thing is, if you're already in an analytical role, you don't have to struggle too much. If you're an engineer, if you're a chartered accountant, if you're a financial analyst, you're already doing a lot of math. Okay, if you're a data analyst, right? So then, you don't have to struggle too much to prove that you can actually process information. But yeah, even then, a higher GMAT is good. A higher GMAT is definitely good. And you can do MBA math as well. All right. So that's one thing. Pancham has a question. Can you give an approximate range of GRE scores as well for T10, 15, and 20? Typically, T10, we are looking at around 333 or something. T15, probably a 330, 329. And T20, maybe like, I don't know, 327 or something. Yeah, I mean, just look at the ETS GRE GMAT converter, put the GMAT numbers that I gave, and whatever GRE pops up, I think we should go with that. But yeah, roughly, I think this is what comes to mind. 332, 333 for a top 10, 2930 for a top 15, and maybe like, I don't know, 26, 27, 27, 28 for the top 20. All right. Any other questions, people? Anujan, I won't say it's not possible. If you have very good experience, work experience, then I think you will still be valued. All I'm saying is your low GPA is in the past, so don't worry too much about it. Do good work, get a good GMAT, and then the third thing that you can do is do your MBA math and UCLA extension or UC Berkeley extension math courses, and then just go with the flow. Whatever comes, accepted. Yeah. Do I offer profile evaluation services? Yes, on a limited basis. Yes. So you can write to me if you're like a current year candidate. Then we would definitely prioritize that. If you're a future year candidate, we may charge for it. So those things we can discuss over email. Yeah. Any other questions, people? Okay. All right. Thank you for attending this session. And this session will live on YouTube as well. So you can always refer back to it and see if, you are not able to listen to me properly the first time. Listen to me once more. And for people watching this on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe. That will help the YouTube algorithm kind of show this video to other people as well. And we are a very small company with a very small marketing budget. So a very simple like, which does not cost you anything, which can actually help us with our marketing and outreach, right? Great, people. Thank you for attending, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.